My friends, I've really done it this time. I've fallen in love. In a video game. Again! I try not to, I swear I do, but I just can't stop myself when my companion is so sweet, so understanding, so compatible with idiot me. I met my real life wife in a video game too, by the way, and that's turned out a lot different from games. For one thing, the responses I can choose in the conversations with her are more meaningful and sometimes more dangerous because you're never sure whether what you say is going to increase or decrease your wife faction, and those are some high risk stakes there. And yes, of course, I'm also in love with my real life wife, although at the moment I'm not sure how well that's going. I told her I was going to make a love video and she looked, I don't know, skeptical maybe. I explained that it was a YouTube video, which seemed to help a little. But then she asked me, "Oh, so is this going to be less embarrassing for all of us than that video where you explained about how much fun it was to choke women who were sleeping?" So I lied and I told her, yes, of course it will be less embarrassing. I am in so much trouble. But while I wait for Judgment Day, I can at least pass the time exploring how a few different games have handled relationships and romance. In my Kingdom Come Deliverance one playthrough that I'm in the middle of now, I realized that the way that game handles the subject gets it just right, at least for me. And that got me thinking about some of my other favorite story/sandbox games from the past and how it worked out there. I'll finish with Kingdom Come and show you what I mean, but I also made some examples from a couple other games to share with you. So Mass Effect 2 and Fallout 4, and I'll start with the one that just made me laugh after all these years, the legendary Skyrim, the gold standard of story games. And I can't imagine that there's still spoilers to be had for these games, but just in case, you've been warned, okay? I confess that sometimes I do find game NPC relationships kind of cringy or odd. Something in the mechanics or the writing that just doesn't click or it gets in the way. But Skyrim, there is nothing cringeworthy at all there because that game just distills the whole process down to a checklist that's almost twice as exciting as going shopping for groceries. So, you want to get hitched in Skyrim? Here's your easy guide. Step 1, play the game. Step 2, go to the internet cafe in Riften, log into dovahkiin.com, and buy an amulet of Mara. Step 3, put on the amulet, go to Whiterun, and visit Lydia. Step 4, tell her she'll do. She agrees. Step 5, hop over to the Temple of Mara, press the button that says, "Make it so." Step 6, cash in on the buffs and loot. It's just like in real life. Oh my God, I'm glad I'm so old. Honestly, it's been so long since I played it. I think my last playthrough was in 1974 that I hadn't even remembered it being quite like that. I think it says something about how much things have changed since the game came out. Then after that, I thought about some other Bethesda titles. Fallout 4 came out a few years after Skyrim, and I have spent a lot of time in Fallout 4. And you know what? I haven't even checked. I should see how much time I've been playing. I'll be right back. Oh God, I just went in and I checked Steam. I figured, oh, it's probably 5, 6, several hundred hours that I've spent in Fallout 4. Kids, don't let your parents do games. Anyway, I've got Fallout 4 started and I've queued up Piper's Almost in Love conversation. And this time I've got my pay attention hat on, so let's see how it goes. Hello?
So, you're not an idiot.
Thanks? I guess.
No, I didn't mean like... I could just use some help. This isn't the sort of thing I'd normally bother anyone else with, but you just seem really good with people, and I've got this issue with my sister, Nat, becoming me.
Okay, so this is reasonable conversation to be having. Relationship at least, so we'll see where that one goes, right?
Becoming you? What do you mean?
I'm just terrified she's gonna start taking up like her big sis. I mean, think about the life we lead. No offense intended, Blue, but personal safety doesn't exactly seem like either of our strong suits. I can't have her ending up like her big sister, dodging bullets and running from all the people she pisses off. It's part of the reason I'm on the road so much. Part of the reason I'm here with you. I keep thinking, maybe if I make myself scarce, if I'm not around her enough, she'll cool off. She'll just go back to being Sweet, innocent Nat, paper girl, an all-around upstanding citizen. What do I do, Blue?
It's a little off. We'll do the nice thing here.
You just love her. Family's precious. The last thing you want to do is drive them away, because you might lose them forever.
You're right. I can't risk that. Thanks, Blue. Who'd expect wandering off with a stranger to turn out this well? They really don't make them like you anymore. You're a hell of a friend, you know that?
Okay. That's nice and all, but this is almost narcissistic. You know, he says you don't want to drive him away. You might never see him again. He's thinking about the loss of his son, how his wife has died. And she's like, oh yeah, hey, thanks. Anyway, I guess talking about me again. Even just a comment about, you know, oh, geez, Blue, of course, you know, you would know all about this. Or, wow, yeah, you know, I'm glad I came to you. You've got quite the backstory yourself. Something like that. But no, you know, whoosh. The whole poignant thing just flies overhead and splashes down in the lake behind her. Oh, and now we have the flirt button. So after discussing this really sensitive thing about what to do, we have to elbow her and go, yeah, well, so what do you think? But let's get it done.
Just friends, huh?
Well, yeah. I guess, but I thought so. Unless, you know, something changes. God, did it get hot in here? But hey, thanks again for listening. It's a real weight off my chest to be able to talk it out with someone. So, you wanna hit the road?
So there it is. While it is perfectly reasonable for her to be taken aback by what I said, it gets a little clumsy when you look at the larger arc of the whole romance process here. This is the third of 4 conversations that we're going to have that are personal and potentially romantic. The first one involved her telling me about her upbringing and past tragedy. There was no option to flirt there, thank God. Your dad died, hey, what do you say? No. The second convo was about how perilous her life is today and how she always gets in and out of trouble. You flirt, and she's startled. Yeah, that makes sense. And she has almost a friend zone reaction, and she instantly acts like I never said anything. Conversation 3, you just saw. She's just as startled and really non-committal in her response. It's almost like the last 2 conversations and our time together didn't even happen. There's no reference to it. There isn't really much of a change. And then the next time we talk, Piper will embark on a long and rambling history about herself and how life was in Diamond City and what happened when she started the newspaper. And when she's finally done talking about herself, you choose the romance option. And she is for the 3rd time shocked and amazed. But then ding, she's in love. Oh, and ding, me too. And then we take like 5 whole seconds to bask in the glory that is finding your soulmate until she abruptly says, oh, okay, well, let's get back to it. Like we'd been out for a hike and we just finished drinking coffee and admiring the view. And unless I specifically bring it up again so that I can get a one-line reassurance, there's very little evidence in the game that anything ever even happened. And it never goes forward from there. The thing is, I get it, and what's underneath that weird disconnection makes sense. In Fallout 4, Piper is a companion. She runs around with me in the game, shooting blanks, standing in the doorway that I'm trying to go through, carrying half a U-Haul truckload of teddy bears, duct tape, and hot plates. That's the primary purpose of a companion in the game, so the writers use that as their foundation for them. And they kept that foundation when they wrote the relationship and love scenes. So they have Piper and all the other companions because it's the mechanic that all of them use. She talks about her past and the wasteland and her past and her problems. It's exposition. It's a lore bomb. It's the way for the game to fill in the backstory of the characters and how they and we fit into the game world. Telling me about herself is informative, and it does help me to care about a fictional character. It helps flesh out the details of Wasteland lore. So the conversations in of themselves are just fine, and they absolutely should happen. And I think there are two things that game designers and story writers could do to dramatically improve the quality and immersion of in-game romance. And in some cases they do. The first thing that comes to mind would require some extra work and resources for game design, though it's not outrageous, and I'm sure that there are games that do this already. I haven't been playing many new games for a while, which is part of why I'm making videos, because I need a reason to start catching up. To help tie the lore to a relationship, the game could track a very simplistic data set of notable events and location visits that happen when the companion was present. In Fallout 4, there's lots of different companions, so different people will be there when different things happen. It's not that many data points that you would need to keep track of. Then, the writers could create dialogue fragments for the companions to use when starting up relationship conversations. You want to create an emotional bond with me? Talk about the things that we did together and how that made you feel. In the beginning, you can talk favorite recipes or change the little reactions that she has when you do things. If 80% of my affinity increases for her is opening safes to find more loot for her to carry, why not add comments to her support lines where she starts saying, every time I watch you open a lock, And then as we move closer to a deep bond, bring up powerful responses to things. Blue, remember when we killed that death claw the other day? It's weird, but even though it was terrifying, I was so, I don't know, it was like everything got so clear, so alive. And after that, I just keep thinking, I really want my alive moments to be with you. Boy, now you have me. Shared memories. It anchors the events in the player more deeply, and it brings the NPC closer to the edge of the small screen. Now, the second thing that helps, I've got an example of it from Mass Effect that we can look at. It's really easy to accomplish, and it's already being done, since you already have writers and voice actors and animators who are already creating conversations between me and Piper, or me and whoever. What you do is very simply separate the lore discussions from the relationship and romance discussions. Talk to Piper about her past and what Diamond City is like, and how conflicted she is about her sister. And then stop! No flirt! Instead, introduce another conversation thread. Put an option that quietly pops up in the talk menu, or let her do an affinity check like she already does and start a conversation on her own. And for this conversation, don't make it about how she's using her newspaper to make the world a better place. She should start a relationship conversation with something like this. So I gotta ask, before the war, did you guys ever eat cereal that wasn't sugar bombs? And then give Nate/Nora a chance to say choices like, no, by the time it all went to hell, Cereals Inc. was the only solvent company left in the U.S. Or, yeah, of course, but I guess since Sugar Co. was local to Boston, that's all you see these days. And then they could ask Piper, so your turn, are you sick of eating that stuff yet? You see, now they're being personal with each other, and that's a vibe that can much more naturally tend towards greater friendship or intimacy. And then the companion doesn't have to act like a startled deer when the third flirt attempt comes in. Bioware did this in Mass Effect 2. I found a clip, got it queued, we'll take a look at it together. Going back to look at it after having looked at Fallout with my little pay attention hat on, it was really clear how much that separation helped. Take a look at this clip from Mass Effect 2 between Shepard and Tali.
Shepard, what can I do for you?
Have you got time to talk?
Sure. Let me just... Come on, you little bosh-tet! Oh, sorry. I've got a small fever and I'm taking it out on the poor drive core. Don't worry, it's nothing serious. Got sloppy while doing some suit repair.
You're sick? Do you need help or time to rest?
Really, it's not that bad. If a stray bit of bacteria could really kill us, we'd have all died by now. The fever should go away in a day or two. Don't worry. It won't affect my performance on the mission. It's not even an illness, really. What we experience is actually an acute allergic reaction.
I don't know if I could live inside a suit my whole life.
We are in our suits even among family. The most intimate thing we can do with another Quarian is link our suit environments. We get sick at first, and then we adapt. It's our most important gesture of trust, of acceptance. I haven't trusted anyone enough for that, though. Except, well, no Quarians. You know what I mean.
I appreciate the thought, Tally, and I feel the same way. But you don't have to prove anything to me.
I know. Well, not that I know, but I didn't mean it like that. It's wow, it's really hot in here. It's just that the tradition also signifies a willingness for, intimacy. I wasn't trying to... It's not always like that. It's more... how did we even end up talking about this?
Wait a minute. It sounds like you're suggesting something, Tally.
What could I possibly be suggesting? I mean, a young woman gets rescued by a dashing commander who lets her join his crew and then goes off to save the galaxy? How could she possibly develop any kind of interest in him?
You have nothing to be embarrassed about, Tally. I feel the same way about you.
Really? I didn't you never... Well, good. Anyway, I should get back to work. But thanks for coming by and talking.
Yep. Yeah, this was just what I was looking for. They're having a conversation. It sneaks in a little bit of lore, some cool things about Quarians and traditions and that kind of thing. But that's not the point. This is not a lore exercise. This is an intimacy exercise. Tally was one of my favorite characters in Mass Effect. She's really well written, also really well voiced. The actress did a very good job of conveying a whole range of emotions. A little quavering, cute stammer halfway through, and then she's able to pull it back and focus and be an adult and be a little challenging and a little sassy. Really well done. I like that. There are some similar elements here that were also in the Fallout Paperclip. And that's really interesting to me. We also got the, oh my God, it's hot in here thing, but in Mass Effect, Tally didn't run away from that. It was a lot more nuanced. It was more playful. And even though she got unsettled, she could at least be an adult about it. Butterflies don't have to make you fall apart, right? And also, while there were many interactions between Shepard and crew members in that game that were full of lore drops and backstories, when it came time to move forward toward a deeper relationship, the writers often used separate conversations for that. That way the characters could, for one fucking time, drop it and be vulnerable or intriguing or whatever it was they were scripted to do. And now, finally, we're back to the clip from Kingdom Come 1 that I want to show you. It's the scene where Henry and Teresa go to the tavern on a date. Got to follow her in. She's got to put her tools away. Always put your tools away, kids.
Go to taverns a lot, do you?
Sometimes. If I want a proper meal, I have to. You wouldn't want to eat the stuff I cook.
That's true. I haven't forgotten that bet you made back in Skalitz that time.
Don't talk about those oat cakes. Fritz's belly heaves at the very mention, even now.
And that's where you go to woo wenches, is it?
Yeah, naturally. The taverns and baths are where the best ones gather.
You lout.
There's no need to take it the wrong way.
I'm not taking it any way at all.
It's all right. I'm only joking. I don't go picking up women in taverns. I prefer a different sort.
What sort might that be?
All mouth and green eyes.
You're such a...
Come on, then.
See, this is so nice. They're talking to each other. They're flirting with each other. There's no prompts that say, flirt now. Oh my God. It's natural. This is what you'd want to see people who are probably in love, but they're not quite there yet. This is beautiful. So anyway, let's go to the tavern.
So, here we are. Shall we order something?
Yes, definitely.
Service?
Ah, a pair of lovebirds. What would you like to order?
Is it all right?
It's excellent.
This ale, there's no better in the province.
You know what?
What? What are you doing? Oh, no.
Oh.
But really?
Yes. Oh, come on, be brave.
No, I've never...
Hand on my hip.
I don't even know how.
And off we go.
But really, I don't know how.
You're doing just fine.
All right. Oh,
All right.
it's fine. Oh, very nice. Not so bad. You wore me out.
And you said you couldn't dance.
How about a dance with a real...
Yeah.
How about you leave me alone and bother someone else?
Oh, come on. It's a crime to waste a body like that on a scrawny boy like him. You got tits like a cow in calf.
Taekwondo, folks.
I like a woman to fight before I fuck
That's
her.
what's needed. There you go.
You'll pay for that, boy.
We'll see about that. Yeah, so anyway, I got to kick this guy's tail. I'll skip. That's going to be a little tedious, so I'll skip ahead. But I gotta say here, that scene, it is so packed full. Hate these things. That scene is so packed full of elements that help me explain why I like this so much. There's so much going on, and it's way more than just writing. It's not one-way dialogue. They communicate back and forth, and it's not just talk. They're interacting with each other. They're doing things with each other in a game way. They're building a memory here, and it's not just the script. Both voice actors are doing a fabulous job. They have emotions that match the scene in their voices, and it's not just the voice acting, the physical acting and animation and facial expressions. I mean, yeah, it's a little dated in places, but it's really immersive. There's little flourishes by Teresa with her arms and hands as she comes up to the table in the beginning. There's sheepish smiles and open expressions. It all clicks together. So I'm going to kick this guy's ass, and then I'll jump back in. Aw, here we go.
My hero. Does it hurt?
You should worry about the other fella. I'm fine. Ow!
Of course you are. That's why you wince every time I touch you. You saw him off, though. He wasn't feeling so playful after you'd finished with him.
That tickles.
Baby.
Oh.
I'll give you this. Nights out with you might be painful, but they're never boring.
I do my best.
You should go in before Peshek starts fretting. Oh.
There you go. Oh. Well, like I said, I'm in love. I'm not so much with Teresa, but I'm in love with that scene, that's for sure. When she's cleaning him and she smiles and she says, baby, with that little catch in her voice. Oh. And then the way the scene ends, there's no angst, no problems. It's just butterflies and smiles as they walk away. That's one of the few gifts the universe gives us if we're lucky enough, butterflies and smiles. And you can look at that and you can shrug and you say, oh, whatever, it's just a cutscene. And, well, yeah, that's what it is. And they made a cutscene so that they could set a complete scene for you. And it's beautifully done. And look at all the games where romance actions are not just a cutscene. The conversation stops every 15 seconds to force you to choose a response. And most of the time, what you choose has no real effect on the conversation, much less the future of their relationship. So even though it feels interactive, it's not really. In Kingdom Come, Henry can decide not to get involved with Teresa by simply not getting involved. He can choose not to proceed with relationship quests. But if he does choose to go ahead, the game gives a big emotional payoff by taking over and showing you how fun and delightful that the evening turned out. Now, everybody's got different preferences, and mine aren't right for everyone. But for me, having Piper pause for me to repeat her prompt after prompt so she'll tell me what she's going to tell me anyway, and then at the end say, oh, well, I have no time for you, in a relationship dialogue. Nah. For me, I want to have a fight with a vacuum cleaner at home and barely win. And then my wife will come with a sponge and she'll dab my cheek and she'll look at me that way and say, baby. Anyway, good enough. Sure glad you're here watching. You're one of the champions. It means so much to me to have some folks along to share what I'm thinking. Let's do this again sometime, okay? We'll see you soon.